Hey guys, how's it going? Onage here, and welcome to a new Formula SimRacing video, where it's time for the 9th round of the Formula SimRacing PRO Championship 2015, of course. Exiting the pit lane here for the first qualifying session around the Temple of Speed, Monza, as I said, for the Italian Grand Prix. So after a very long summer break, which I enjoyed, has to be said, taking a time off sometimes isn't bad, and do some other things. But coming back now, and obviously excited as always, leading the championship right now. I think I have got about 308 points, something like that. It's about 310 points, and I think Sander had about 200 points. So probably about a 100 point deficit does Sander have. Sander Callas, second in the championship. We can't take the championship home yet. There are 5 races to go after this one, which means there are still 250 points on the table after this one, as someone behind me spins off on that qualifying lap. So we can't get the championship here, but obviously that's not what I look at. I want to try and win every single race, you know, which there is. So I did quite a few laps here, and I remember previous year that Monza was one of the tracks which I just absolutely, you know, didn't like, and it was no different for this year. I just don't like the track. It doesn't suit me. I don't know. I really do not like it. Probably I do like the track, as we are going to start our Q1 lap in terms of layout and stuff, but I think the track in the game is not too accurate, although it is quite good, but there are just certain points in the track which ruin the whole track experience for me. One of them, which you will see later this lap, is a bump in Ascari, a big dip in the second Lesmo, where the car just responds weirdly sometimes, and I couldn't really find the best setup, I guess. I had a decent one here, and I felt comfortable, but it wasn't like I was feeling the best. It is as well those two big sausage curbs over there. If you touch them, you are almost being launched into the air and just going to cost you a couple of dents, basically. So those are a few things here. This Lesmo here, there's a really big dip. You don't really notice it when you are watching, but when you're driving you do really notice it. So far it looks like a good clean qualifying lap. It's obviously Q1, top 10 is our target. If you reach the top 10 in Q1, we're going to advance to Q2, where you get one more lap in. I went through Ascari. I missed the bump, forgot to say it, but there's basically a big bump in Ascari. You can take it pretty much flat out if you have got the right setup and approach it with the right angle, but you don't always approach it with the right angle, and in that case it's just going to push you horribly wide. Parabolica then, that's a fantastic corner for sure, coming across the line now doing a 121.190, and that doesn't put me up in third place. It does say that at the top, but something changed within Rfact, I don't know what. It was good enough for first place. This is the outlap for Q2, preparing our lap. If somebody knows it, by the way, I think there with a new build in Rfactor 2, it changed it, so every car has like a fixed number. I am number 3 for this race, and I don't like it at all, because usually the person who was in front of me was actually car number 2 then if I was in third place, but because the numbers are fixed, it can switch sometimes to a car which is like at the back of the field, which is not that great at all. I don't know how to get it back either. Anyway, starting the Q2 lap here, the DRS wide open for the run to the first corner, which is the first chicane of the track. Pick your brake marker, 100 meter board, and down to the first gear. Slow it all down nicely on the apexes, and then try to accelerate as best as possible. That is very important on the exit of that chicane. Curva Grande here, third corner, sorry, flat out, no problems there whatsoever. And then prepare yourself for the second chicane, the Variante chicane. Brake at the 100 meter board and over those curves, but don't, as I said, go too far over them. Extend the track as much as possible on the exit, and then prepare yourself once again for the first Lesmo. Down the gears here, down into third gear, clip the apex and let it run out wide once again. Then prepare yourself for the second Lesmo, crucial for your lap time. Very crucial, and it did look rather stable. It didn't look all that quick, but it did look stable. And that's exactly what I needed, as we have the DRS wide open coming up to Ascari. Before I started the lap, I noticed that pole position was only a 121.6, and that's quite easy to achieve. There's the big bump through Ascari, and it's sometimes can unsettle. You can extend the track there on corner exit, which is exactly what I did, and then one more corner to go, the very famous Parabolica. It's a fantastic corner, just takes a lot of speed into it, down to third gear. Try to get as early as possible on the power, take a nice wide line through there. Could have gone much closer to the outside line there, but nonetheless we are finishing the lap, and it's only a 121.4. And I say only because I did a 0.1 earlier. I think in Q1 my first lap was already a 0.3, then I did a 0.1 or a 0.2, and then I said a 0.1 or something like that, I don't know. So it could have been, you know, quite a bit better that lap time. But as I said, when I started my lap, I saw that the pole lap time was a 1:21.6. That was when I started my lap time. So at that point, most, you know, top runners were already done with their lap time. So I knew that I didn't have to push too hard, and that's exactly what I did. You know, when you push really hard, it can obviously give you a bad lap, but the chances that you are going to crash out is obviously higher as well. So formation lap then, and starting from pole position, which is very nice, after Silverstone obviously, which was the race before the summer break. We are back again in pole position. And we had a very successful weekend in Silverstone. I remember that also doing the World Championship. If you are wondering where that video, you know, is, it is finished editing, and I'm going to record it with my engineer. So we will have a co-commentary for that WC race. And I think it should be up in the next coming of days, so definitely pay attention to that. It's already, you know, already edited and ready to go, so that should show up in the next couple of days. So third, I will try to bunch up the field a little bit in the Parabolica, or before the Parabolica. First place here, George Winter in second, as we heard some team radio. During this race there will be no team radio from Justin's side, because Justin had a bit of an issue with the team radio. Usually Justin records the team radio and his Windows only picked up my sound instead of his voice, which is quite a shame, but it isn't too bad, because, you know, from what I say you can kind of make up what Justin asked or said. It's not that big of a deal in this race. So Oscar, then here's the bump. There, right there. It's not that heavy obviously when you drive slowly over it, but definitely is a factor in a 32 lap race. You really need to be really careful, because it can, you know, send you out wide, and then it can compromise you for that cheeky left-hander, and sometimes you can run out wide, and the gravel is everywhere waiting for you here basically. Watching up the field here, we have some more team radio, as we're at the Parabolica right now. Got 52 on the rears now, we'll warm them up. 52 is on the rear, that is not too warm, doing a relatively slow outlap, as you saw there, batching up the field before Parabolica, so that you don't have to stay stationary on the grid for too long. And we are going to prepare us here, doing a few more burnouts and running or rolling rather into that first grid slot, which is nice. Okay, coming to the grid slot, 117.9, 100% front, 99 at the rear. 58 degrees on the rear. So they're a bit cheeky from me, trying to position myself as much to the front as possible, and I'm actually overshooting my grid slot, but I could luckily reverse it. And now it's waiting for those lights. Winter in second, Christoph in third, so doing a good job. James Settler was about in 8th or 9th because he had an issue in quali, but he is a strong opponent to look out for in the race. Anyway, 5 lights already, and the first lap is on the way right now, and we have a problem on the grid though. Straight away an incident at the grid slot, and a big chain reaction being caused behind me. Having a smoking engine as well coming into the first corner right now though. It seems like I've dropped quite a few positions entering the first corner, or getting a bit of a tap from Sander. No, don't know if I squeezed him too much, whether he went too deep into the corner. Nonetheless, I could keep it. But what a hectic start. Incident at the start. Hard to say what exactly happened, but let's forget about that. I had no idea at all what happened at the start. We'll have a look obviously at the replay soon as we come through the chicane here, and it seems like a car in front, which is Andrea Ventura, went pretty deep into there, going to go on the inside for the first Lesmo. Crucial to get this place. At Monza you have to drive very opportunistic, and that's exactly what I did. What I did, but Ventura spun in the background, and I spin as well here. It does look like, yes, it does indeed look like I half spun. I didn't completely spun, but I half spun on the exit of the second Lesmo. I crashed there actually last year as well, and it's a horrible first lap for me at the moment. But at the back, you know, it also was a huge crash, and behind me you can see a Networks car over there. I think that may be Sander Callas, and Sander is driving without a front wing. So as I said, it's a very hectic start here, especially from my side. Just I don't know, I really don't know what happened at the start. Tires are quite worn. I'm good to keep on going, but I have a huge flat spot. I did not realize at this time that I had any kind of damage. You know, on the front wing when I crashed at the exit of the second Lesmo, I did damage a piece of my front wing end plate. but I did not realize at this time. And I said my tires are worn, but that is the wrong, thing to say, as a lot of people go straight here into turn 1 because the brake markers are taken out at the start. It's an absolute hectic start here to this race. We overtake one guy, coming up to this guy as well. Sorry, I do not remember the name. Going around the outside and taking him as well. I think it's Sam Carpenter. Might as well be Sam Carpenter. Sorry if I get that wrong, but
I have huge vibrations in my wheel at the moment because of a flat spot. But I think it's not worth pitting, so stay out for now.
You can hear in the background of my team radio, you can hear some kind of rumble going on. That was actually my wheel transponding to the flat spots on all 4 tires. I have a flat spot on all 4 tires, which will be shown soon. And it was horrible to drive with that. It was absolutely horrible. Not only did it damage the tires, but through down every single straight, I had to drive with one wheel basically, because my keyboard was almost falling off the platform it is standing on because of the vibrations. Here, looking at the start, what I always did in the practice start was apply about 90% throttle, and then I would get away nicely. And actually, my starting procedures were always really good around this track, so I cannot still point my finger to what exactly happened. Here is Sander in that mirror where I get the tap right here. Luckily managed to keep it as I said before. Now watch it again. Watch at the bottom left. Watch the throttle input there. See, that's about 85-90%. And that is exactly what I did before. Then here the engine block down. You can see the clutch being activated. That is not what I did. That is what the anti-stall system does. If that didn't activate, my engine would have stalled and we wouldn't even manage to get off the line. When your engine box down and a certain amount of RPM is being used, the anti-stall system will kick in. That is exactly what happened there. But God, do I feel bad about that, because it caused a huge chain reaction at the back behind me. And the sad part is that Christoph was involved. Here we see it from Baxter. Baxter was involved. Adrian was involved. So many people being involved in this, and I can't describe this as something else, but I felt shit about that, because the feeling you get over there is just it's indescribable to tell you. We see here that there was another big crash, and Greg Baxter decided to go straight, which was probably only the best thing. We have here we have another replay going on the inside of Andrea. There was actually a bit of contact made, I think, in the middle of the Lesmo. I do think I left him enough room, and then here is where I spun. Have a look at that once again in the replay. The Walt who was driving in front of me basically missed his apex as well, hence the reason why he spun. Because he missed the apex, I took basically the same line as him, which was a terrible thing to do. Then I picked up the dirty air as well, and I crashed. Here we have a look from my point of view. This is what I saw on the inside here. I did not really even notice the contact, but unfortunately for Andrea, it was enough to spin him round. And then here I missed my apex slightly, go too wide, and then, as I said, those gravel traps are absolutely waiting. I thought I could save it, but here is just the point where, nope, it's gone. And there's where that little contact is from, is with the barrier, and where I lose my front wing end plate.
Oh, the shaking. Definitely slowing me down.
Definitely slowing me down is what I said. There is that flat spot I was talking about. Pausing the video over here, you can see that black spot on the tire. That is the flat spot I am talking about. And not only the right tire, it's also on the left hand side. It's not as bad as the other. But look at the rear tires, how much they vibrate as well. It is quite unbelievable to see. There's another flat spot, you can see it going. And there is another one. So all 4 tires at this stage were flat spotted, as I am right now behind Ranzini, who misses his braking spot, goes straight. Hopefully I can attack him here then. He slows down a little bit. That is nice behavior from him, because he definitely gained an advantage obviously by going straight. I go around the outside of Kurvagren and no worries there whatsoever. But what a hectic race, and because of all the crashes, so many brake marker boards were taken out, and so many people outbrake themselves as well. I didn't do it a single time, but honestly, throughout the whole race I was really careful with that, and throughout the first sector, basically every single lap, I think I gave up a 10th, just to make sure that I wouldn't go straight for the first chicane. Then Ranzini spun behind us, you could hear the crash noises, and he is gone. So another crash in this race, and Monza is one of those off races in the calendar, on the calendar, where a lot of people tend to crash, including me. And it is just such a tricky and difficult track. I don't know what it is, to be honest, but At the moment, George Winter and James Sadler are the ones being in front of me. So we are in third place at the moment, and that is rather incredible after you know what happened. But I couldn't really concentrate. You know, first of all, I had these vibrations in my wheel, but on top of that, I still felt so, you know, irritated and sad for everyone who was involved in that incident. I would rather, you know, have crashed massively on my own and damaging, you know, my own car and maybe even having a race-ending crash than, you know, compromising another driver's race. That is something you never want to do. Look at the shaking as well going on the wheel. You can see it a little bit. It doesn't appear as bad as it actually was for me, because those shakes are terrible as they go wide through there as well. I just didn't have the grip, did not have the concentration, did not have the car, you know, did not have the tires. So you're almost likely thinking, well, why don't you pit then? Well, it's a relatively long pit lane over here. You are in the pit lane doing 99 kilometers an hour, while everyone flies by you with 340 kilometers an hour. So you can imagine that you lose quite a bit of time when you go into the pit lane. And you can see it as well. You see me weaving down this little straight. I was trying to get my keyboard placed again on the little platform. I have a seat, you know, a rig. And the whole time I just had to replace the keyboard, otherwise it would fall off. Here is lap 11. I already went into the pit lane right now, so I skipped that part. In lap 10 we went into the pit lane. Nothing serious, you know, happened. We are currently on the soft tire though, which is the prime tire for this weekend. Super soft and soft. And this stint obviously went a little bit better. I mean, there are no flat spots anymore. You can see that it's nice and clean. During the pit stop, I placed the keyboard right again, so I would make sure that it didn't fall off, and I could try to concentrate again. But as I said, it was hard. It was really hard because you keep thinking about that moment where you destroy someone else's race, and you know, I take full responsibility for that because I feel like I have to. I was the one being at fault there at the launch, and I still cannot point out what exactly happened. What could have happened, but as I said, I don't know anymore. You press two buttons basically on the launch. One is for launch control and one is for the traction control override, which basically makes your start quicker if you have a longer first gear or set up the first gear later than normally. So I had two of those buttons engaged. What could have happened, but I think that is weird as well, is that I released the traction control override at the same time as I released the launch control. But I don't know whether it is able to stall then, as we are on the inside of Valeriano, who's still on all tires. And look how much grip there is available to me. It's just incredible to see that. In the front I think is Sam Carpenter, so going on the back of Sam Carpenter as well, opening up the DRS as there's a car exiting the pit lane. We go side by side over here, and I already make the move stick even before the first corner, as Dmitry Zaharov, who went on the who exited the pit lane, is right there in front, went straight, but luckily lets us through. So that's very sportive and classy behavior from him. Give another look at that. Valeriano going a bit deep into here, picking up the slipstream, but also the understeer, the dirty air from Sam Carpenter. So able to make that move stick and straight away going on Sam Carpenter. I open up the DRS here, then I saw Zaharov exiting the pit lane over here. I decided to go to the inside because I could pick up a little bit more slipstream from Zaharov and so get a bit more of an advantage. It's a little bit of a tight space there, but Sam Carpenter realized that as well. What Sam Carpenter did is lifting off. Listen, definitely a lift from Carpenter over there. Probably knew that it was pointless to battle me. There's just pace. Seriously, no pace. As I am complaining there, just no pace, no pace. I had an off day. I couldn't find the rhythm, couldn't find the pace anymore, so skipped to the end of lap 21. And in Silverstone I remember having a flawless, almost flawless, especially in World Championship, radio communication between Justin, but for some reason things just did not go well this day. In terms of radio, not as well, because usually I give Justin all kinds of information, and that is also something I didn't do. My head was just not there. It wasn't. And my pace wasn't that bad anymore after I switched to the new tires, but it didn't feel right. Yeah, there's some damage. Body damage. Don't know how much it actually hampers the pace. Can we pit?
Yep, pit this lap.
I asked Justin, can we pit? Justin answers, yes, pit this lap. Obviously, as I said before, Justin's force has been left out, unfortunately, because of some issues. but we are going to pit this lap. Then the plan was actually a one stop. Pitting in lap 13 was the ideal pit window for me, and then go to the soft tire and do the rest of this of the race on that soft tire. But because of the damage, I decided to pit earlier in lap 10. I honestly believed at that time that I could do 22 laps on the soft, but at this stage I realized, you know, it's just not going to work. And also on advice of Justin, we decided to pit here and go for a super soft tire. We did not have anything to lose at this stage. The gap to P4 was huge. It was seriously big. And I had about an 8-second gap to James Sadler at this point, who was leading the race. Winter was on a 2-stop as well. Sadler was on the 1-stop, so Sadler is currently leading on all tires. Here we are on board with Winter. He just pitted as well on the super soft tire, so he is going to chase down James Sadler throughout the stint. And I honestly still had hopes that I could finish in second or first. That is not a joke.
Like the track is some kind of battlefield. There are everywhere brake signs missing and whatever.
As I said, it's like a battlefield, the track, you know. Brake signs are missing, so many debris, so much carnage basically. It was an unbelievable race, and I think at this point only 12 people were driving or so. As we skip to the end of lap 22, opening up lap 23, it's a very lonely race for me. You can see George Winter that who just exited the first chicane, I believe. At this stage I was the fastest person on track despite a little bit of damage. But you know, the damage in terms of my race was already done in the first lap. You know, I really tried to recover from it. I tried to give it my all. On the soft tire, I was relatively quick, closed the gap to the guys behind. On the super soft tire here again, I closed it, but the harm was already done. You know, the gap when I pitted after the first you know, super soft stint was about 12 seconds, 11. I think I brought it down to about 9 seconds during the soft stint, and obviously on the super soft we are going to gain massively on James Sadler, who is my team boss and also teammate. But it's not going to be enough because James is doing a one stop, and even if Winter is able to catch James, it's quite hard to overtake around this track. I think James is just about into the distance entering Parabolica. George is entering it right now, or that has to be a back marker. It could actually be a back marker as well. I think it is a back marker in fact. So George Winter is even further up the road than you know, what we're seeing over here, and I'm pretty sure that is a back marker. So ahead of that back marker is actually George Winter. As we said, a 1:22.405, which was the fastest lap of the race, and we skip ahead to lap 31. I apologize about the boring race, but it's the way it is. Here is Winter, who is chasing down Sadler, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough with 2 more laps to go. So I have a back marker in front of me, and there we go, flying through the field. Here we are, behind Vicentovic, who is that back marker. Lap 31 out of 32, and able to pass him down this straight here, entering Parabolica. Lets me go, so that's very kind of him, very nice to see that. And then we have got 1 more lap to go, and then this race is over. Monza is one of the quickest races on the calendar, at least it should be, as we had a bit of an oversteer moment on the exit of the Parabolica. It should be one of the quickest races of the whole season, but even in the race simulations I did, it feels like an incredibly long race. I don't know. I just, as I said before, it's not my kind of track, I guess. But that's not an excuse to, you know, not perform well. I think I performed somewhat well despite the damage and other, you know, the whole situation basically. But I still had a tough time dealing with, you know, what I caused at the start. A bit untidy there on the corner entry for the chicane, but all looking quite good. At this point, I said just wanted to get over with it. In 2 weeks' time, we have Spa-Francorchamps. That is something I need to focus at, you know. And sometimes you just need to have a down, you know, have a punch in the face in order to stay with both feet on the ground and be honest and be realistic. And losing is sometimes the best kind of motivation for a next race. So I'm highly motivated for Spa in order to do well there and make up for the mistake which I made here, especially at the start. But as I said, I have still a tough time pointing my finger to what exactly happened. Anyway, James takes home his first victory ever in Formula SimRacing, so I am very happy for him, delighted, also very well deserved. Winter is second. We crossed the line right here, and I straight away parked my car.
Sorry.
And apologize to Justin, saying sorry. So parking my car there, I was done with this race straight away after the race as well. I decided to straight away apologize both on the forum and in the chat in the game, because I felt very sorry for what happened to my opponents who were, you know, caught up in that incident. At the same time, I'm very happy for James Sadler. He was really quick for his race. Team Radio?
I did bug down. And then the anti-stall system kicked in. And I did get hit, yeah. Huh? I'm pretty sure I used 90% throttle thereabout. I was like 88% throttle. And then it bugged down and then the anti-stall system kicked. Oh man, I'm sorry.
I just felt really bad after that. I really did. Luckily I can confirm pretty much that there are no penalties for me after that. It was basically seen as a racing incident, I think, more or less. But boy, do I, still feel bad about it. It's painful to watch back, but it happened, and I can only, let it go and prepare for the next race. As Sadler did some beautiful donuts there. We got a really good shot of that. Obviously being rather happy with that victory. We see the final results. Fast lap of the race, 1:22.405 by us. In the end, 8.4 seconds behind James Sadler, who, as I said, deserved, to win here, and I'm glad he did. And only 10 people finished this race. And most of the DNFs or the retirements were obviously after that start. But yeah, as I said, I apologize for it, but that's all I can do. I've got to move on as well. And that's exactly what I am going to do. I'm going to practice very hard for Spa, which is in 2 weeks' time. Hopefully I can recover from this mistake and do well there. That is really what I want to do. Very motivated to do so as well. As I said, sometimes you need to lose in order to get the right mindset again and know that you are not there yet. And yeah, hopefully we can do better next race. Sorry about to you guys about the entertainment level, or level, I guess, from this video. It's not that high, but nothing really happened other than me complaining the whole time on the radio and me just, driving poorly because, first of all, because of a flat spot in the first stint, but after that I couldn't get my head, around it either. Luckily still managed to pick up a third place, which is not bad despite, the situation. But yeah, I think we should leave it at this. Sometimes you have a bad day, and for me, I had a bad day. And that just happens. Nothing you can do about it other than learn from it, and that is certainly what I did. So hopefully that gives me a bit of experience for the future. And for now, I want to thank you guys for watching. If you have enjoyed the video, I would appreciate a like, and I hope to see you guys in 2 weeks time at circuit at the circuit of Spa-Francorchamps. Obviously a great track, so let's go to there. And I thank you as always for the support, and goodbye.